what if there's a thing that had like, what if someone put a bunch of satellites in the, oh wait, boom, 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 Starlink.
So we're going to talk about Starlink now.
See, I was just thinking, let's get rid of the internet. I'm still not sure it was a great idea to begin with.
It's a fad.
Oh, so check this out. So Dr. Marco, stay at home, Langbroke at Marco Langbroke on Twitter, has images that they shot of Starlink satellites. And look at this, measuring the difference, the albedo, basically the reflectivity of a couple different Starlink satellites. And you can see a noticeable difference on the dark sat, on one of the Starlinks that was considered, that I think that's known to be, have a different reflectivity coating and things. And he measured it as a significant drop, like an order of magnitude, I believe, drop in reflectivity. So you will notice it looks like the center image was underexposed. I think he does talk about that, but he still did the measure
was
anyway.
he using the Pixel 5 night sight here? What is this?
No, he does list. It's a Canon EOS 80D, so
Oh, okay.
DSLR.
So kind of a normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, actually, he said he shot it through a 10-inch aperture, so an actual telescope. But yeah. So 10-second exposure, and you can see, for those of you listening, basically, there's 3 separate Starlink satellites in these images, and the middle one is the one they're calling quote unquote dark sat, which is one of the more experimental ones, and the reflectivity is significantly less. It's quite a bit darker, and these are the satellites getting closer or in their operational range, right? So this is what we would see, and it's a drastic difference between the 3 images.
The 2 on the side here, which look like the worst trend line in history, they're closer, and then the middle one's further away back towards its orbit, or it's a different kind of satellite altogether?
No, they're all Starlink satellites, and they're all, I believe, in their final orbits or near their final orbits. So they're similar distances, but one of them has the reflectivity coating, is my understanding of this.
So we need to send people up there to go paint the other ones?
Well,
Well, they'll come down eventually.
yeah, the lifespan of these satellites likely won't be more than 5 years at most, and there's only a small handful, well, still hundreds, I guess, with the brighter reflectivity.
There's a small hundreds of handfuls,
but it's still not that
hands.
much. So someone asked about the magnitude, which is the level of brightness, and Dr. Marco replied with, the altitude is about +5 to +4.5 for the regular Starlinks, in the same orbital plane and orbital altitude as DarkSat, and about 2 magnitudes fainter, so 6 to 6.5. And let me pull up the apparent magnitude scale here real quick. So visible to the naked human eye, of course I'm going to say the word naked, would be
Naked.
So, for instance, the brightest star in the sky, Sirius, is an apparent magnitude of -1. So, I believe the sun is like -0.6 or something, or -27, something really, really bright. The sun's, and it goes, sun's -26.7. The faintest star is -1.4, or the brightest star is -1.46. Venus can be -4.2. That gives you a sense of some of the brightnesses in the sky. And then at 0, it switches and goes, that's brightness relative to Vega. For some reason, Vega is just our gauge here. I don't know. And then from there on, it decreases. So going from like a order of magnitude from 0 would be 100% as bright as Vega, to an apparent magnitude of 1 would be 40%. And then from there, apparent magnitude.
Vega is a star.
Yep.
Not the Street Fighter character. Got it.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
maybe.
So going from a apparent magnitude of about 4 to apparent magnitude of 6 is a significant drop in actual brightness. So that'd be from 2.5% as bright as Vega to about 0.4. So yeah, so that's good. And yeah, it'd still be nice. So that would still be slightly visible to the human eye, most likely, or you'd likely be able to pick it up under the right circumstances. But it's cool that, that we can see that.
Well, and there's a more Starlink news related to this, right? Are you getting to that?
I don't know about the more Starlink news, but I did want to show one more thing. Ralph Vanderberg on Twitter has an awesome actual close-up. Oh, this is the one where it's shot with, I think, a 10-inch scope. Shot this, 10-inch aperture. So there we go. Sorry, Dr. Langbrook, I think I got these confused. I think shot this just with a at f2.5 50 millimeters, so a standard like DSLR lens.
Canon 80D.
Yep.
The
So
nifty
this was
50.
so Ralph shot this with a 10-inch aperture scope and got an actual, like, you can actually see Starlink, which is really cool. So you're seeing the biggest, most reflective part is the solar panel, and the satellite bus is this lower part. And SpaceX has talked about using a solar shade to actually kind of block, almost like an awning, or put like a hood on it, so that it's still, the solar panel can face the sun, but then they can put the shade on it, and it will help reduce reflectivity back on Earth. That's something that they're looking into, is they're most likely going to be the way that they really, really, truly reduce and basically negate reflectivity of it. So
yeah, I was wondering. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up, because I was always wondering. I knew that most of the area of the satellite was the solar panel, and I was like, well, how are you going to reduce the reflectivity of a solar panel when it needs to get the sunlight? You know?
Yeah. It sounds like the solar shade might be an option. And
so what did they do on that dark sat? Do you have any idea?
That, I think, is just a coating mostly on the solar panel itself, and the satellite bus. Probably some kind of, you've all seen solar panels, and even look at solar roof, the Tesla glass and stuff like that. Solar roof, how
Roof.
Sorry, roof. I'm Midwestern.
Well, that's a very Iowa way of saying
That is a solar roof. Anyway, the how some of those are a more matte finish, and there's things you can do too, like Apple has like nano coatings on some of their screens that really, really reduce reflectivity a lot. And I'm guessing that's going to be some of the things that they employ to reduce reflectivity, but still bring in the amount of light. It's just a matter. It's like really cool science, and I'm sure we'll end up seeing some more, some progress in that sense before they, as SpaceX tends to do, just basically make improvements, fly it, put it up there, see how it works, and then make more improvements. Just keep doing that. So we'll likely see a continual decrease in reflectivity and brightness on upcoming Starlink. Oh yeah.
Good.
Thanks for reminding
This
us.
was the
Ben.
bit. This was the bit that I was wondering about, because I saw this news recently. So SpaceX for Starlink, they applied for their license to get approval to do this in 2019 in February, and they just got it.
Yep.
So they are now allowed to deploy up to 1 million user terminals in the United States for satellite broadband, Starlink satellite broadband consumption.
Yeah, baby.
And service is expected to be available in parts of the United States this year. So that to me is where I was like, oh, because my big question has always been, yeah, this is all cool, but when can I have it?
Right.
It's all just academic until I can actually get this. So.
Yep. And I don't know if you guys, I don't think I was talking about this, but it was probably 2 weeks ago now. Elon was, I think it was the panel maybe for the Air Force. He did a speech, or Space Force, one of the, I don't remember exactly what, I think it was Air Force. And he talked about the Starlink basically is, UFO on a stick. And it has, I think it has an actual, an auto leveling and auto pointing actuator that makes it so it points in the right place. And then it stays stationary, is my understanding of these user terminal. But basically he says here's the steps that are going to be included with it. Plug it in, point it at the sky, any order.
Connect your connect your internet.
Connect
modem or whatever.
Connect to it. Yeah, literally plug it in, make sure it's pointing at the sky, and that's about it. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, but you still have to wire it into your house and just connect it to a router or something.
Just Cat5. I mean, yeah, but still, that's pretty awesome. Just power it up.
It's going to be enough for me to screw up, is all I'm saying. I know me pretty well.
But I think that's awesome. I mean, we're actually seeing it's kind of starting to roll out, and we're seeing some actual information coming out that's really exciting.
So are you guys gonna get it? Try it? I mean, Well, Tim kind of obviously, but Joe?
I mean, I hadn't made plans to, but I mean, once it gets up and running, I'll be definitely curious about it, you know?
What's your internet like there at your house now, Joe?
I do fiber. I mean, it's through AT&T, but it's the Giga.
But it's yeah,
Giga thing.
okay. So you've
but
got
I mean,
really
if
good
Starlink
internet.
is faster,
Well, I think that's the question. I don't think it will be faster than local fiber.
At first, no, but eventually, I mean, it will have gigabit throughput or capability, you know, and the biggest thing is latency will never be quite as good as a full-blown hardwired. You know, we can, but
Right.
it should be low enough to game, so probably, you know, for sure below 100 milliseconds of latency. But yeah, I think the throughput eventually will be the actual full bandwidth will be, you know.
Well,
Gigabit
and I think
capable.
if they can do it for, like, let's say right now you have, I have gigabit fiber from my local ISP, and it's $150 a month, but holy hell, is it good? And Starlink comes out and says, yeah, we've got, 800, not a gigabit, and it's maybe the latency is maybe, 20% worse, but it's $15 a month.
Dude.
I think a lot of people go, because most people don't really use much internet, to be honest, like at their house.
Right.
Streaming a high definition movie is requires like 7 megabits per second or something. So unless you have like 30 people in your house doing that, you're really never going to use all that bandwidth anyways. So I'd be really curious if they're able to come out with you can compete in business in 3 ways, like speed, quality, or price. And so what is this going to be? Speed, it's going to be competitive, but it won't be the best compared to like a 10 gig fiber channel or something. Equality, okay, it'll be good, hopefully. Price is probably where they could Jeff Bezos it and be like, yeah, we're just going to undercut everybody until everyone else goes out of business,
well, but for say somebody like you, Tim, who travels a lot, I mean,
Oh my
you could
God.
you wouldn't have to ever worry about where you're going has internet or have to use,
Yeah.
you would just carry this thing with you and set it up and you got it wherever
Only
you
thing
go.
is, like, imagine if you're in a hotel on the second floor out of a 10-story building. Like, I don't know how you'd, a lot of those windows don't even open anymore, stuff like that. Like, that's
just
the other
like
thing.
put it outside on top of your car or something.
That's the one thing I don't know about yet. But for sure, like, for when I'm doing live streams at rocket launches and stuff, oh my God.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
Totally.
yeah.
that will be, and for people doing like
Or down
nowadays,
at Boca.
down at Boca, holy cow. The only problem is those lower latitudes like that will be a little bit later. Right now, like the northern states and Canada, things like that will be, because of the way that the orbits cross up there, there's more coverage currently. So the higher altitude or higher latitudes will be a little bit better coverage sooner than the lower. So it'll be a little while, I think, before there's genuinely good coverage in California, Texas, Florida. But I think by the end of this year, like even Iowa is probably going to start being in that sweet spot. So I would love to be testing that out and be using it, ASAP basically would be awesome.
So if you're a hardcore fan, move to the North Pole, people.
Not the North Pole, because it
Don't need to worry about isolation up there. Telling you,
true.
you're good.
It's true. You're self-isolated automatically.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing is, it has. I think the biggest thing is it can really disrupt the underserved is the biggest thing. Yeah, it might disrupt in some places where like my friend in Seattle only has one option for internet and it's horrible. It's one of the 2 big companies. I don't remember which one, and they just price gouge, and it's like he's paying $100 a month for like 20 down or something stupid. Just horrible,
Yeah.
and it's horribly unreliable. He has to reset his router like every 5 days or whatever. And it's just this old junky router. And that's his only option. He literally has no other options besides like doing a MiFi spot or something.
I mean, and the point of that, I think that you're touching on is not necessarily whether or not it is, going to be work for him, but it's introducing competition
Yes.
for a consumer product or service. So that hopefully will, I mean, even if you stay with your local company, hopefully it'll kind of kick them into gear,
Yep.
into making it better.
Yep.
Even if
Making
you
it
don't
better
go them,
or
the
cheaper.
fact that there is an option.
Yes.
Yeah.
In places where you only have one option, having another option knocking at the door is only a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be awesome, and it's cool to see it's actually kind of working its way into being. Hey, thanks for checking us out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast.
We do a weekly show here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to Our Ludicrous Future, where we discuss all the things that are going to make our future totally ludicrous.
You can join us here on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast places. Plus, if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and join a cool community, you can help support the channel at patreon.com. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.